I can take any guy and I can guarantee you that I can get him to doing 3 to 5 million in the next 3 to 5 years with $1 million to the bottom line, and position him to sell his business for 10, 15, $30 million.
That's incredible.
These guys are, charging $95 an hour, $150 an hour. They think they're really killing it, and it turns out they need to charge $300 an hour. It's like, my customers won't pay that. Well, I can't do that. And others will say, no, do it, charge it. In fact, I'm charging $500 an hour now.
Oh, wow.
Customers pay that and will be glad to pay it, smiling while they're swiping their card and giving you a 5-star review. It is that simple. All right. It's what we have in our head that tells us we can. If you have a trade business, you are sitting on a freaking gold mine. You just need to know where to dig.
Awesome. Well, welcome to FieldPulse. Super happy to have you here. This is Richard Behney, aka the $1 Million Pro. Very excited to have you here. So I think just to get things started, would love to learn a little bit more about you and your background, where you were born and how you were raised and all that good stuff.
And Michael, well, first of all, thank you. Yeah. And it's been great being here at the FieldPulse corporate offices. Yeah. It's been fun. Appreciate the time here.
100%.
And background. Well, I was born, I grew up in the Midwest. I was born in Dayton, Ohio. And normal, from a broken home, really kind of had it, not to have a sad story, but had the rough background and, broken home and grew up in apartment projects and I was basically taking care of myself since I've been 7. But it's all turned out all right. Yeah. So,
and then obviously you moved around a lot. And, when was that introduction to the trades? Like, when did that first happen?
Yeah, I never, like a lot of trade guys, it certainly wasn't on my top 100 list, to get into plumbing. That was my trade.
Right.
But I got out of the Navy and in no direction as it happens. Yeah. And I just kind of fell into plumbing. I had a buddy who was working at a plumbing shop and said, hey, they're hiring, you want a job? And I said, sure. Yeah. So I got into plumbing and discovered I was actually pretty good at it. I grew up even, there wasn't gaming and the games and all that kind of stuff, so we were out building, tree houses and forts and go-karts and that kind of stuff. So I always had a little, some mechanical bent, but I never dreamed of becoming a plumber, in the trades or anything like that, but found I was pretty good at it and, good with customers and all that kind of a thing. And it turned out to be a good thing.
Now, if I remember correctly, when you kind of first started doing plumbing, it was in tandem with something else, correct? Well, if you don't mind talking about that, because I think people would love to hear that.
Well, I had a music background. Yeah. And so even to this day, if I meet people from when they knew me as a kid or, as a teenager and all that, are you still doing music? Were you into music? Because I was,
that's cool.
Playing clubs and that kind of stuff. And so I had that past. So even then I was plumbing and playing the clubs at night, and that led into opportunity into Nashville, and found myself in Nashville, and it was still plumbing though, during the day. And in fact, it was a blessing that I wound up getting with the company that did all the big stuff for all the big stars in Nashville, and so I was at a time when it was Garth Brooks and all that, so I did his remodel and some other big names, I did their stuff. And in fact, that's how I got a development deal with Warner Brother Records.
Oh, wow.
Whether I was plumbing their house, doing the finish work and long story short, but I wound up cutting my finger. I was setting a toilet in their master bath and cutting some Mexican tile. And I cut my finger and blood was everywhere. And the missus wound up taking me to the med check in her Mercedes. And she said, what are you doing here in Nashville? Well, I'm like everybody else. Yeah. I'm trying to make it in the music business. Well, you know who my husband is, don't you? Well, it was the president of Warner Brother Records.
Wow. What an introduction.
And she goes, and she jokes that, I sleep with the boss. I said, yes, ma'am, or whatever. Yeah. And I was able to give her a demo, and she got a demo in, and that's how I got some opportunity there in Nashville.
That is awesome. Yeah. That's really cool. And now you obviously started your own plumbing business. Was it kind of towards the tail end of, maybe you not wanting to do music, or maybe not even not wanting to do music? Are you just saying like, I need to make a decision here, and then you started that plumbing business?
Well, I was smiling because, basically I was a starving artist, I was plumbing during the day and playing clubs and showcases and that kind of stuff in the evenings. And it just isn't any money in that. Yeah. And I took a look around, it's the music business as we get to that, just like it's the plumbing business, HVAC business, it's a business. And I took a look at things in the business and just knew that that wasn't for me, and wound up moving back to the Midwest in Annapolis, Indiana, and got a plumbing job.
Nice.
And so so we stuck with plumbing.
And then you obviously sold that business. So why did you sell, or what did that look like?
At that time, I was a plumber, and I decided, just like a lot of us wind up thinking, and this is what we see, instead of making that guy a lot of money, I'll make all the money for myself. Right. So I struck out on myself and one truck Chuck, and was just barely getting by until, I discovered some things about the business, and then things took off, and, we went from our kitchen table to, multi-truck, multi-million-dollar, plumbing operation. And yes, when you do the right things, you start getting noticed, and you'll get the locals wanting to buy you and that kind of stuff, and that's little money. But if you do things right, the real money starts noticing you, and and so we weren't planning on selling. We were just milking the cow, making good money, living the life, living the dream. It was very good. But then there wound up being, some offers, and it wound up bidding against each other, and the bag of money got big enough where it's like, let's take the money.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's what we did.
Well, and then how did you know that offer was right? Was it like, and it's fine if it is, was it just strictly the numbers, or was it like, hey, like this has gotten to a point to where I really don't even want to manage this anymore? Or was it just, this will lead us down a different path where I don't have to work as hard every single day? Or like, talk us through the process of getting to the point of selling it and when you knew it was right to take one of those offers.
Well, it's the right time. You feel the right time. It's about the money as well. In fact, I didn't take the biggest offer. I took the best offer that I thought was for the brand and for my people, all that. So I didn't take the best financial offer. I took the best offer overall, but it was good money. Yeah. And it just felt right, the right timing. And you do come to a time when, as we work with it, you try to transition from being a tradesman to a business owner, CEO. So, that first transition is really tough. And, that's what I had to go through. And ultimately that's what we teach. Yeah. It's taking you from being a tradesman to a business owner. And in the business owner, you've worked the asset, and you've made good money, and you've done other things and invested. And then now you have this asset that's set up, basically a money machine, right? You got this good little money machine, and then a real big money comes in and wants to make it a bigger money machine. And it's just, it's just the right time.
And that's a really good segue too into $1 Million Pro and what you are doing today. Could you break it down as, what was your initial goal when you started $1 Million Pro, and how has that evolved over time?
Well, originally when we sold the business, we joke, and when I say we, my wife and I, the lovely Laura, those that listen.
It's definitely a we decision when you have a wife. Yeah.
I was very involved in the business as well. And we were done with plumbing and plumbers and tradesmen and the trades all together. Yeah. And we were just out, we had the money, and traveling, things that you think about doing, your toys and all that kind of stuff. But there's only so much, in reality, that's not living. There's only so much that you can do. It's nice to do it for a few weeks. Yeah. But, when you're used to doing things, you get bored. But we started being asked, those that knew me, well, how did you, how did you go from that to where you wound up? Yeah. And we started getting, asked that a lot, which then led us into coaching. Yeah. And, I had guys say, you ought to take this online. And so it hit us. And we originally started out as the $1 Million Plumber. Ultimately, I love plumbing, and I love plumbers. I'm proud to be a master plumber still. We started out doing that, and that took off. And even then we were being asked, is this for HVAC and, electrical? And then we created the academy, which we have, and all that. And we had, HVAC, electrical, landscape, we have mobile oil changing. So we have other trades involved, because the business all works the same. The money works the same. Customers are, it's all the same. So we had that even as plumber. But eventually, we had people saying, why don't you do, will you be open? And just were advised. And so finally, yes, we made the $1 Million Pro.
And is that kind of what motivated the change from plumber to pro is just to make sure you were, I don't want to call it all inclusive, but just to make sure that it was branded for everybody, basically.
Right, that everyone felt welcome and realized that it was for everyone.
Gotcha. And then what inspired you to start it? What was your vision for this? Was it, to get guys making a lot of money? Was it to get guys having better relationships with their families, so they could get the business to that point? Like what was your core inspiration for starting this?
It's where I came from, right? And so for where we came from.
Yeah.
And so we see that, really it's a heart. We don't have to do this. We don't want, we get, what's your agenda? What's your, it's not to make, it's really our heart. We love seeing it's taking a guy that was just like us, or a couple that was just like us, we call them pro power couples, husband and wife teams, who are struggling, but they have this dream, and just to see the change when they when they learn the concepts of the business concepts that you must learn. These guys they're not struggling or unsuccessful because they're not great at their trade. They just don't understand business, and they were never taught that.
Right.
And so once you learn that and to see that and the change it makes in their family, just that they're successful, but then also how that affects their family, their relationships, with their wives, their spouse, with their children, and we see generational changes. And it's just that's why we do it.
And I feel like I may have said this to you in one of our first conversations a couple years ago. Is like the main reason, obviously I'm in partnership, so I want to find business coaches like you, and the biggest reason why I like working with you guys is because tradesmen as a whole, especially guys, if they are trucking a truck or however they're doing it, they are undoubtedly phenomenal at what they do on a day-to-day basis. These guys have no idea how to run a business, and that's okay. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just, some of these guys need guidance on, it's like, hey, like, what's your lead count like for the next week? They're like, I don't know, guys, just call me. You can't operate like that. It's like, how much do you want to be making? Well, X amount. It's like, well, what are you doing to get there? It's like, well, I'm just keep working more and more. It's like, that's not how you do that.
Right. 95% of all trade businesses fail within the first 3 years.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Yeah. The 5% that make it, supposedly, 97% of those just live week to week, paycheck to paycheck, where most everyone's at.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's not because, again, that they're not, a great plumber or HVAC tech or electrician or handyman, or don't have customers that love them and that they care for their customers and, are doing a good job. It's not that. It's just they don't understand business.
Right.
Period. That's the thing.
Well, and then that's also another good transition to like the challenges you see. Like what would you say is a fairly consistent challenge that you have to help these guys overcome? Like it's their first weekend, the $1 Million Pro Success Academy, which we'll talk about too. But it's their first week, and it's like, what's something you not necessarily got to beat it into their head, but it's just like what's consistent things that you have to kind of reshape in their head of what they need to be doing.
Well, there's the practical side, it comes down to really, the right price, the right people, and the right purpose.
Yeah.
And we can talk about that. And those are really simple things to understand, but they have to understand those things.
Right.
And then it's in who we are. I had to learn it ain't about plumbing. The business ain't about plumbing. The business ain't about heating and cooling.
Yeah.
It ain't about electrical. Okay. That's what you do, but the business is not about that.
Right.
Okay. It's about these other things. And the good news is you learn these other things. They're not hard. They're really pretty simple, not necessarily easy.
Yeah.
Because it's a mind shift. Again, we come from the trades. I've never met anyone who's honestly said they dreamed of becoming a plumber or any of the trades. We fall into the trades. We fall into, as guys, we grow up dreaming about being, a football star or rock star.
Yeah. Or I'm supposed to be in the MLB for the last 6 years.
There we go. Right. How did I get here?
That was my plan.
Okay, right. And that's normal. So we fall into the trades.
Yeah.
Well, what happens is that we find out I've heard it now literally thousands of times. It's my story. I fall into plumbing. I actually find out I'm pretty good at it. Instead of making that guy a bunch of money, I'm going to make all the money myself. So I open up, I get a truck, hang my shingle out, and I get with a GC, general contractor, and I start building home, doing all that kind of stuff. And I'm working more than I was before, and I'm making less money. And this is not what I thought would happen. Okay. That's time and time. And I've literally now thousands of times.
Yeah. And are there a lot of misconceptions that you come across with these businesses, or just like things that you see with that? Or?
Yeah. it's pretty straightforward. It ain't about the thing. If you want to be this is hard to hear, but if you want to be a great plumber, if you're all into plumbing, put the business thing aside. Do your family a favor. All right, go be a great plumber and keep being a great plumber for another company and make the money and just be a great plumber. All right. So you got to put it's not about the trade. That's a hard thing to understand. It ain't about the trade. And you got to learn the business, and it's not difficult. It's really is pretty simple. And in fact, we say it all the time, and we've seen it now hundreds of times, hundreds of times. That it's really 20% of learning the right things to do with the business, but it's 80% what you have going on up here. So we carry this head trash of who we think we are. Yeah. And I'm not good enough. My daddy wasn't nobody. I'm this or that. It's their fault. It's that fault. If we don't have the right president, we don't have the right whatever it is. It's always something else. Yeah. It's not that. Yeah. All right. It's 80% of what we have going on up here.
Yeah. I love that. And to kind of touch on what you're saying, it's like, it's not about the plumbing. That's something I've heard a lot from other coaches as well. It's like, it's almost way more about the experience that you give to that client. Oh. You know what I mean? Because it's like, they could find anybody to come in and fix, a flapper or like give you a new toilet. That's, like you said, it's a skill, but at the end of the day, it's not hard to do that. But how are you going to take that customer and make them that, long-term client where they're like, Richard came by, man, he was asking me about my dog and he was asking me about my children and, gave me a really, really good experience through all this. So I can see where you're saying it's not necessarily about the plumbing, but kind of talking about that experience that you're creating for that customer.
Well, you mentioned just, as I said, it's the right price, the right people, and the right purpose. Well, that other key is, the right people. Yes, the right people working for you, but the right customer. See, that's one of the misconceptions is we think that everyone who calls me is the right customer for me. It's not. Yeah. Like in the case of GC, like I said, you cannot start with one truck and grow a multi-million-dollar trade operation working for GCs. It ain't going to happen. It's the wrong customer because it's all about bottom dollar with them.
Gotcha.
And it's all about bottom dollar. Where you just alluded to, a customer that Richard cared about me. They cared about me. They asked me about my dog and asked me about that kind of thing. Well, that's a different kind of customer that values them and their time. And so that's, it's working for the right customer.
Gotcha. Do you have any like kind of key factors into finding the right customers? Because obviously I think I'm not from the world of trades, but I could see where it'd be really easy to kind of get sucked into where it's like every single person that calls me, I got to book it. I got to take it. I got to make it 110% of the most amazing experience. Like what do you kind of tell your guys in the academy? It's like, this is the right customer. Like, how will you know it's the right customer?
Well, the right customer, values what you value, that kind of a thing, and values what will make you money. Because ultimately, that's what's the right purpose, which is, what's the right purpose for you, why you're doing this business, but ultimately, what is the business for? Well, the business is ultimately about making money. Yeah. Not about having the best plumbing in the world or about making the world green or all the other BS stuff that's going on out there. Right. That pulls us in. It pulls us in down the wrong track. Okay. Ultimately, the business is about making money. Yeah. So the right customer is for you, the one that makes the business money. Okay. And the money that you need to make, that the business needs to make. That's that first, the first pillar there, the right price.
Yeah. I was going to say, I remember I've heard it from you multiple times is like knowing your honest hourly rate. And I know how important that is to you and what you stress to the guys in your
That's
academy.
One of the biggest, that right there of charging what your company needs. Okay. And I'm snapping here because you're selling time. We're not selling plumbing. You're not selling new, AC units. You're not selling new light fixtures. You're not doing carpentry. Okay. You're not selling mowing lawns. Okay. You're selling time. Yeah. Okay. And it's understanding that, and you're selling all your time and you got to account for all your time and all your expenses. All right. And profit. Profit's not a bad word. It's we think it's a 4-letter word. Well, I'm not going to rip people off like, the company I was working for is ripping people off. Oh, you mean the same company that has all the nice equipment and has all the guys working for them and lots of customers that love them? That company is ripping people off. So what happens is we get out there and we start, and this is back to, how we think about ourselves. Every guy, this is the hard thing when I talk one-on-one with the clients, is getting man to man. Look, we do look down on ourselves. So we think I'm not worth that. It comes down, I feel I'm not worth that because it's just me in a truck. And I know me. And yeah, I'm good, but I'm not worth that. And that's really what it comes down to. Well, it ain't about that. It's about what the company needs.
Yeah.
Okay. And so it's getting past the, the feeling of what I'm worth. And so what happens is we get out there and we take the, I call it the price book swipe method. We take the price book from the company we're working at and we charge 10% less. I'll show them,
Yeah.
But I still don't know why I'm charging what I'm charging. Or, I'm at the supply house asking, well, what do you charge for a water heater? What do you charge for this and that? Like they're going to tell you the truth. Okay. Right. Like they really know and why. So, it's back to, if your mom said, if your best friend jumped off the bridge, if Joe jumped off the bridge, would you jump off the bridge too?
Yeah.
That kind of a thing. So we're just kind of following someone who really doesn't know why they're doing what they're doing either.
Right.
Okay. Or it's, my favorite is, what I call the pull it out of the arse method, where he's just going, well, I think I can get this, or, or I need this. Okay.
Yeah.
In all those cases, you're literally ripping your customer off. If you don't know why you're charging what you're charging, you're ripping your customer off. You're stealing from your customer, period. But more importantly, you're stealing from yourself. You're stealing from your family because you don't know why you're charging what you're charging. And that's why 95% of all trade businesses fail, because they're not charging what the business needs to charge to survive.
They kind of
not just survive, but thrive. It's meant to thrive.
Right. They go into it thinking like, I'm going to make sure I'm the cheapest guy in town, but being the cheapest guy in town isn't exactly the
worst
best
guy.
thing to do.
I see it on the trucks when, low price and that kind of thing, best price. We want the concern is always, I'm always looking for good paying customers. Where are the good paying customers? Well, you're not attracting good paying customers because you're attracting the tire kickers when you're saying lowest price, best price, those kinds of things.
Well, and we definitely live in a society now where it's like people don't mind paying a premium because there's that expectation with the premium of all the other things that go with it, like the customer, support that we can call it customer support. Cause I think when you hear that term, it's like, oh, it's a team of 15 people sitting at a computer with that. It's like, no, it's like if you're a business owner, you have to worry about your own customer success and customer support, and so when you're paying that premium, it's like people are willing to pay that because there's an expectation with that. And then obviously you'll start making more money and thriving.
Well, what makes it a premium is providing what the customer wants and what the customer ultimately wants. The customer that you can make money with. Everyone listening here. Okay, I look a camera here. Look in the camera. All right, you got a trade business. Okay, what your customer that you can actually win with wants their time. It's about their time. It's not about your time. It's not about how good the equipment is. They already expect the equipment to be good and expect you to do a good job. That's what they already expect. But no one wakes up in the morning and wants to call a plumber. No one wakes up in the morning and wants to call a plumber. No one wakes up in the morning and wants to call HVAC. No one wakes up in the morning and wants to call an electrician. No one wakes up in the morning and wants to call us.
Yeah.
Okay. But the good news is they do. So if they call you, they're already sold. You don't need special sales training. There's nothing there. They're already sold. They're already sold. They called you because they don't want to call you, but they called you. They're already sold. So if you just show up, what they want is to get the job done today.
Yeah.
It's all about their time. And so if you just show up, give them options, 3 options. Okay. Well, first of all, show up, when you say you're going to show up, all right, look like you're professionally dressed, using FieldPulse. That's one of the ways I love about Field. It professionalizes you. Okay. Yeah. You listen to the customer. All right. Let them tell their story. Everyone has a story.
Yeah.
Don't go right to broke fix. All right. It's all very simple things to do.
Yeah.
All right. Give them 3 options: good, better, and best within the lane. Okay. Don't try to sell. If Mrs. Jones called you out, that's what we call our customer. If you know that in the county, that's what we call Mrs. Jones. In fact, I had a real Mrs. Jones that I think of and that's where I came up with. Give her some options. All right. And stay within why she called you out. So like on the plumbing side of things, I'm hearing this tinkly sound in the toilet, well, make sure that one of the options has to deal with the tinkly sound in the toilet. Okay. So it's the flapper. Mrs. Jones is the flapper.
Right.
Then the next option is an upgrade from the repair. Okay. From the repair. So in this case, a flapper and, a fill valve, we would call it a minor toilet rebuild. Okay. And then a replacement, offer a replacement. Okay. And that's what I mean by in the lane. Okay. Because Mrs. Jones psychologically may be thinking, I'm not going to buy the toilet. Okay. But I know why you offer me a toilet.
Yeah.
It makes sense. She doesn't feel like she's being sold. She goes, I know you'd like to sell me a toilet, but she doesn't feel sold. When she feels sold is, well, we have this super duper green, water conditioning system that's going to save state of the art. It's going to save the planet. And then I'll throw in this, your toilet repair or whatever with that. Now she feels sold. Okay. But it's that simple. Just stay within the lane there. And that's how we get, our clients close 98% of their calls. Yeah. Just give the customer what she wants.
What they're wanting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've said that already too this week, but every time we talk, I want to start my own plumbing business. Because it's not easy, and I'm not saying it is, but the way that you go about orchestrating it, you know what I mean?
It is easy.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll just give you an example. We just had, I'm proud of, I love all of our clients. I tell them, I want you to be bigger, badder, meaner, more successful, have more toys. I want you to be way like I'm talking to my kids. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm dad.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I just had an example. We just had a client that started with us 4 years ago. Out of Detroit, tough market, all the excuses. I mean, he could have all the excuses. Guy from the street, he and his wife, they're from the street, a little hard, okay? Over $100,000 in credit card debt. Sly House has now shut him off, okay? It's just him in a truck, part-time helper, all right? Cut to 4 years later, he just sold his plumbing business for $30 million.
That's a paycheck I'd like.
It's easy. Yeah. If you do these things. Now he came on and did everything we told him to do and then some, all right? But it is that simple. It is that simple, all right? It's what we have in our head that tells us we can't by pointing and saying, well, it's this or that. I can't find guys, whatever, all the excuses. But it is that simple if you do the right things.
That's an incredible story. Love that.
Oh, yeah, I can bore you to tears with others.
I don't think it'd be bored.
That's just one that just happened. Just happened recently.
If anything, that would just motivate me more.
And that's what I love seeing with these. I love seeing these guys are just like me. We all have our our stories or whatever, and able to come and and be financially successful with their dream. But more importantly, it changes your life.
Yeah.
It changes your kids' lives.
Yeah.
Okay. And the trades, it is the place to be. You're sitting on a gold mine.
Yeah.
If you have a trade business, you are sitting on a freaking gold mine. You just need to know where to dig.
Right. And the way you kind of talk about your clients too and your clients' success, it makes me think a long time ago, me and my dad were talking about what makes us feel good, but not buying a new car, stuff like that. It was like what internally makes us feel very good. And for him and I, both is seeing other people be successful or just us helping in a way where then we see somebody else's joy, that makes us feel joy. And I feel like I see that within you a lot where you're sitting there. It's I don't need all the praise. I don't need you going it's him. It's no, you still went out and did the work and you are successful. And I feel like I can see that in you a lot.
That's what we say. I appreciate from, of course, from our, our MDP clients and all that. And I get a lot of love and nice things said. And I appreciate that. But I always say, no, I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
Because you still had to do it. It's simple, but it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy to go from where I'm working for a GC and I'm trying to build in, where I go residential service. Okay. Like if I have, one client, they were very successful. Had 23, 24 trucks doing new construction for some big names out west that you can't, but some, so doing big multi gazillion dollar homes, big stuff. Big stuff, but wasn't making any money. The final straw was at the end of the year, they made $1,400.
Wow.
Now they looked big, they looked fancy, but the asset wasn't making any money.
Yeah. And
so they came on with MDP and transitioned from new construction to going service and the right customers. The staff went down in half and but the difficulty of turning that shit to, making those changes and doing those kinds of things in a different mindset, that's can be hard.
It's scary a little bit.
Right.
I can see.
It's scary. Right. And so, but they did that.
Yeah.
They did it. And now they're, sitting pretty. In fact, they're one of the coaches with us now.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so,
love that. Yeah. Switching gears a little bit, in terms of the plumbing industry as a whole, and the trends that you saw, what have you seen change or maybe even stay the same from when you were running your business to where things are today?
That's a good question. And it's loaded. I'll try to not sound like the old guy. The bottom line, look, the plumbing's the same. The equipment, it's all the same. They'll do some fancy names, but basically things are saying, some of the equipment changes.
Yeah.
For all the trades, there's different things. The green thing it's kind of a thing and all that.
The new initiative or whatever.
Right. Yeah. All that kind of stuff. But ultimately, customers are the same. People are the same. Your employees are the same. The money works the same. It's all this. It's all the same. Technology's been great, but I see that's the kind of we're a big proponent of keeping it simple.
Yeah, kiss
it.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Amen, man. So like for example, like one of the things he came in, it was coming in right when we sold our business. Was the idea of stocking the truck and that kind of thing, and the wanding systems and all that. It just adds complexity that doesn't work. Now, on the outside looking at it, that'd be so cool. We just, stock the trucks that way, that, that kind of thing. The bottom line is the guys won't do it. So it also takes the focus off of what you want your guys really doing is taking care of Mrs. Jones. So there's more squirrels to grab our attention. So that's adds some complexity and some difficulty, for guys today. But if you just keep it simple.
Yeah.
All right. You can make a lot of money.
Yeah.
And we call it freedom lifestyle. That's what we point to is it's not having a job that owns you, that you own this asset.
Right.
And so so that's one of the things that when they get into the academy, you mentioned that. And one of the things we work on is this idea of creating your life, a vision for your life. And then you create your business around your life.
Yeah. And I know I always talk about, I've told you, I'm sure 100 times, but just love that one of the first conversations we had where you were saying like, I had a guy call me from the beach with a selfie, just being like, met my daily HVI. I met what I needed to make for today. I'm just chilling. That just seems incredible that you can have a business where you're just sitting on the beach going like, cool, good. I'm going to keep relaxing. You know what I mean?
Well, you mentioned that's what we get it down to. That's, a major KPI of ours, that hourly value index. That really is the only KPI that can tell you right now whether you're making money or not, which is really what we want to know.
Right.
And so, but that's what we work towards and that's part of that transition of transitioning from being a tradesman. And because we're proud. I mean, I get it. We work with our hands. It's what we do. In fact, that's a big fear. I don't want to be an office guy. In fact, that was my fear. I'm not an office guy. In fact, even sitting here, I feel uncomfortable just sitting. I got to be doing something.
Need to get up,
be
active,
and go, right. And so we have to work the guys. And so I didn't want to be an office guy either. I want to be stuck in an office, but you put the right systems in place, like a FieldPulse. Okay, understand the right KPI to look at. Put the right other systems in place. You can run that business from anywhere in the world. Yeah, and so that's one of the parts we call it the freedom lifestyle.
Yeah, love that. So looking forward, a little bit into the future, what is your vision for $1 Million Pro over the next 5, 10, 15 years?
Well, we hadn't made a choice. We're at an age, when I say we, the lovely Laura and I, and we're blessed, and we live in Naples, Florida, and
good place
and
to
we
be.
like the boating and the life, and so do we want to? And even where we're at now, it's fun. We feel very blessed. We get to participate with other families, and we're doing this kind of a thing. We're in this. We're in this for the next 5 to 10 years. We want to help as many tradesmen as possible. And there is the part of, so there's still the competitive side, but there's also, I hear other voices out there and they're wrong. And they're making money in the wrong way off of what I call my guys. And it's like, I want to combat that. So we're here to be a bigger voice and to be a help to as many tradesmen as possible.
Love that. And then for anybody, the sales pitch, if we want to call it, anybody that is unfamiliar with $1 Million Pro, what would make them interested, and why should they be interested in you guys?
Well, ultimately, what we do is we teach the business of the trades. So if you're struggling, with those basic things, like I just don't have enough customers, can't find enough guys, the basic things they're up top. There's other reasons why you're experiencing those kinds of things, but they show up with, I just don't have enough good paying customers. I can't find enough guys. I'm not making enough money. I'm working all the time. There's more month at the end of the money, all those kinds of things. then, we're all about teaching the business. It's just, you don't understand the business.
Right.
Okay. And you don't need to be afraid. I've simplified. I've made all the mistakes. I say the best value that I can give you is, look, I've made every mistake. I've done everything. I've seen every situation.
Yeah.
I'm not 30 at I'm in my 60s. Okay. And I've had, of course, many wins, but more importantly, I've had more losses.
Yeah.
And you learn from the losses. We know what not to do.
Right.
Okay. And we do have it simplified down to here's what you need to do. You do these things. I can take any guy, I can take any tradesman, and I can guarantee you that I can get him to doing 3 to 5 million in the next 3 to 5 years with $1 million to the bottom line, and position him to sell his business for 10, 15, $30 million.
Right. That's incredible.
That's right. And it's not because you're a genius. It's fun. You're a genius. No, it's not. It's 2 + 2 = 4.
Right.
Okay. And I've spent years trying to make, 1 + 4 = 4. And two, I'm saying? I've made all the mistakes. No, 2 + 2 = 4. You do these things, you will succeed.
Right. Well, I was thinking, like, as a bit, like, if you're a business owner, like, it would be really nice to have a guy kind of in your corner, A, wanting you to be successful, but B, going like, hey, what are you doing? Okay, I did that too. It's fine. That's a mistake. This is what you should be doing instead. Like, it's nice to kind of, it's almost like a fatherly figure a little bit, where you're going like, hey, you messed up with that. Guess what? Me too. But this is what you need to do to fix it. Or don't even think about going down this path because I did, and you don't want to do that. Yeah. So I'm sure it has to be like very secure, and knowing that they have someone like that, like you, in their corner helping them.
And that's how I look at it. Not to presume, but because I'm older, I kind of look at it as I'm a father. I'm talking to my sons.
Yeah.
And
your plumbing sons. Yeah.
And we wind up. The surprise to us, and again to the lovely Laura and myself, is that we fall in love with these people. Which is kind of, so when we hear the struggles, it's like when your kids are going through stuff, you're upset. That's the thing we've kind of had to control.
Yeah.
We know we can get them through it, but they're having to go through it.
Yeah.
They're going to be okay.
Yeah.
But just that they're experiencing these things, because there is a reality, and we don't talk about this in the brochure, but things don't, whatever system you're setting up, you still got to put it in place, and you got to tweak it and that kind of a thing. And then maybe, this time this part didn't work. So now you move here, you do that kind of thing. So there is that reality.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you stay with it, all of a sudden things just take off.
Right.
I mean, I've seen it now. Again, I'm not thousands of times, and it's fun to see.
Being direct and persistent with what you're doing.
Right.
Right.
And so I do talk straight. If you just wanted to be pat on the back, the Success Academy and, MDP is not for you.
Yeah.
We're kind of like we heard the story, once of, all the branches, service branches were at a high school, you had the Navy and the Air Force and the Marines and Navy was, it's not just a job, it's a venture. Army, come be all you can be. Air Force, whatever. And Marines said, it's tough to be a Marine. It's going to be hard.
Yeah.
But you're going to love, that kind of a thing. Well, that wound up being the longest line. So if you're truly wanting to succeed, and are willing to, hear the truth, then MDP and the Success Academy is for you.
I love that.
Yeah.
And then, the Success Academy, excuse me. I want to touch on that a little bit, like, what people could expect, if they were to sign up, like, what do they get out of that? And kind of like, what's the, end goal with it? Or is it a consistent thing? Like, what is it? Yeah. What does it look like?
Well, we have the training, we have coaching and community, we have training, an online platform of over, 150 videos. We cover everything you need to know about business. And I have it broken down into modules and bite size. So, no classes, classes are like 20, 30 minutes. I did it for me. I'm that guy. I can't sit for an hour, and I'm not a techie. And so, but it's been broken down so it's easy. You can bite size. Okay,
right.
Easy to consume. Okay. Then we have the coaching. We have over 10 group coaching classes. A month. I coach a couple of them. Then I say we have coaches that are coaching. Okay. So we go over what's in the academy. But the big part with the coaching is, and why we have so many, is we have open Q&A. So you can bring your questions and get your questions answered. And that's what we see. The guys that move the quickest, just like the guy just sold for 30 million, Matt, all right, he's at the coaching sessions.
Yeah.
And he's at questions, get my questions answered. So you got to not be afraid to ask your questions. There aren't stupid questions.
Mm-hmm.
It's what's important for you. The quicker you get your questions answered and get things in play, the quicker you're going to grow.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. And in the community, that's turned out to be a surprise. I mean, we have the community, it's a private group page, and it's where I and the other coaches hang out. Another great place to get your questions answered, but just the support, to hear from others. And these aren't guys that are like in your local PHCC or trade group or whatever,
right,
who aren't going to tell you their secret sauce. And these are everyone who wants you to win.
Yeah.
And so we go on these retreats, like we just got back from the Dominican Republic, and just they become your friends, and it's become very powerful. That surprised me. That part surprised me.
Yeah.
And so with those kinds of things, you do it, you can't help but succeed.
Yeah. And I think it is kind of funny thinking, I'm 28. I'm not about to say I'm old, but it makes me think back to like high school and college in the sense of I'm terrified to ask this question. And then somebody else ask it. And then 4 of the people in the class go, I was thinking like, what else do it? It's like, there really are no dumb questions, and just speaking up. And then it's amazing, like just talking and just being like, guys, I don't know what to do with this. And then you might have 3 other people go, just went through that last month. This is how I got out of it. Or like, I'm going through that right now, Richard, what are we looking to do? It's like, it's really cool when you actually are talking and communicating and saying like, guys, I just need help. How many, people are actually going through the same thing, and then B, how many people are willing to help you through that. And so I love that you guys have that.
And we have that. We see it as like even right when you first come in, because one of the first things we get you to do is, you mentioned the honest hourly rate.
Yeah.
Okay. And so we have an honest hourly rate calculator. We help you figure what you should be charging. Okay. And it's such a surprise and a fear, because ultimately these guys are, charging, $95 an hour, $150 an hour. They think they're really killing it. And it turns out they need to charge $300 an hour. It's like, my customers won't pay that. Well, I can't do that. How am I going to do that? And then in the group, they put that out there, and others will say, no, do it, charge it. In fact, I'm charging $500 an hour now.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they pay it, and they're surprised, and they do. Customers pay that and will be glad to pay it, smiling while they're swiping their card, and giving you a 5-star review.
Yeah. Love that.
Yeah.
So for the rest of the year, 2024, because obviously we're just into August, which is crazy to think, by the way.
Already.
What should we be looking out from you for the rest of this year?
Well, we're looking, you're going to see us more, on social, and you'll see us out there on YouTube, and
love that.
And, more content, more information out there, a bigger presence.
Yeah.
You may feel a push. I got more webinar trainings, live trainings that we're planning.
Awesome.
That kind of a thing.
Gotcha.
Ultimately and we'd like to have you in the academy. Yeah. 'Cause that's where we see the success.
Yeah.
And look, if I can do it, if Matt, who just can do it, and I can name, tens to close to 100 others now who've sold, and again, we're talking about millions, selling for millions.
Yeah.
After, 3 to 4 years.
Yeah.
Okay. If we can, and everyone would say the same thing. If I can do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
You just need to know the right math.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
And that math's at millionpro.com, guys. I'm telling you, you need to go and check it out. I've been working with Richard for about, I think, a year and a half now. Yeah. And you're one of the most inspirational guys I've met, just because you're, it might be easy to, see a group like this and be like, wow, they're just kind of worried about getting as many clients as, and it's the first conversation I had with you. I was like, this guy cares so much about who he's working with. And it's just been a pleasure working with you over this last year. And I think it's been pretty successful so far. So
yeah, well, I appreciate the kind words. We love the relationship with FieldPulse. You've been great with our clients. Part of our thing is we take it very, very seriously.
Yeah.
So like when I say, I just made a statement, you're stealing from your customer if you don't know why you're charging what you're charging. As much as I believe that is what we want to provide the best vendor. So that is part of the Success Academy is recommending who are the best vendors to help you succeed.
Right.
And we don't want just vendors that are just looking to take your money, the same kind of a thing. Look,
right.
we all need to pay. But by the way, everyone I've ever given the Success Academy to, when I did free trainings, no one ever did what I said. There's something about having skin in the game.
Yeah,
okay?
100%.
But there's also the value to paying. So it's like with FieldPulse, which is very, I think you could charge. I won't say you could charge more. All right, but I love what you say, because you make it for a guy that's just starting out. You're so affordable, but you actually care. You guys, FieldPulse, and you've proven that, and you've shown that. Yeah. And those are the vendors we like. We want to have a relationship with, because we align in what we want for our people. But then it also, you're actually able to come through.
Right. 100%.
And so the relationship with FieldPulse, we love it, and we're looking forward to that grow here in 2024.
100%.
And
So wrapping it up, last question is just leave the people listening and leave us with, whether that be professional advice, motivational, just one last thought from you.
Oh, that's dangerous.
I know it's very open-ended, but
I think just it could be what comes to mind, even personally and even professionally, and that's taking responsibility for yourself. Take responsibility for yourself. And by that, I mean, not looking to blame someone else, something else, some situation, some president, everything that's happened socially, not coming from the right family. I don't have enough money, or this is my market, or whatever the excuses are. Take responsibility for yourself. Take responsibility for yourself. Life goes very, very well.
Love that. Yeah. Richard, always a pleasure. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming out. And hopefully we'll have you back out here soon.
Thank you, Michael. I enjoyed it.
Awesome.